Alright. I don't know if I said this in another video, bro. There's people really wearing these quarter zips, man.
Do coffee. There's straight quarter zips and matchas around here.
You don't do Nike Techs, you don't do coffee, you drink matchas and wear quarter zips, gang. Bro, you don't do those type of stuff no more. And I go to school now and I read books, bro, and I go to the library. I don't do those activities no more.
Rule number one, as soon as you put on a quarter zip, you become an elitist. Any man that doesn't have one next to you is a peasant, respectfully speaking.
I just saw a white man comment, the quarter zip movement is doing more for the black community than the Black Lives Matter movement ever could. And I would just like to take this time to remind y'all that respectability politics will never save the black community.
I'm telling you right now, the CIA will not let the black community slide with wearing quarter zips.
Quarter zip trend is a recession indicator, and the Stone Cold post-2000s great recession indicator at that.
Over the past couple of days, the quarter zip movement has gone from being something cutesy, something to celebrate, something to be funny with, you know, get nice and dressed up about.
Niggas said CIA is in shambles.
To something that is turned very anti very quickly. It went from being a celebration of young men showing off their different and unique styles, dibbling and dabbling into different clothing pieces and being unique, into these nasty conversations revolving around anti-blackness, respectability, politics, and just overall gross.
Is this anti-black? Bro, I don't think it's anti-black to put on a suit. A suit is for every race. To put on a quarter, you know what I said, quarter zip, that shit ain't. Now drinking matcha, that shit for everybody, but like drinking matcha, let me stop pushing. Nah, it's for everybody. No, I don't think this is some like anti-black shit. Niggas always gotta wear street clothes and all that. No, bro. I think you could wear a quarter zip, bro, and wear glasses and all that shit.
Sentiments, stereotypes, and overgeneralizations. Now, as a young man myself who has been wearing stuff like Nike Techs, blazers, you know, business casual attire for my job and all throughout elementary, middle, and high school, I feel like I'd be the perfect person to talk about as to why this whole quarter zip movement is a little bit nasty.
Frick. Watch where you walking.
What did you... Wait a minute. I'm white.
I remember growing up through the uniform era of schools where people were pushing for
You a quarter zip king getting insulted by a Nike Tech delinquent.
white.
I remember growing up through the uniform era of schools where people were pushing.
This shit just a moment, bro. This shit is not gonna be something so revolutionary, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
For uniforms being a common thing in public schools, just like they were in private school.
If it do, it do, but I doubt it.
Now, even though my school never enforced uniforms, I remember my mom making it a very strong point of contention to have me and my brother wear khakis and a polo shirt Monday through Thursday at school. We got to wear jeans on Friday. And all of it was tied to this idea that wearing some sort of business casual attire makes you a better person.
Is it just me, or is it when you put on a quarter zip that the game just changes? Like, I just feel like a different person.
See, over the past couple of years, there's been these connotations associated with wearing a shiesty, wearing a Nike Tech, and it's something that has been a repeat of different eras and different generations. When I was growing up, I remember it was wearing a big baggy jersey or baggy pants. I remember the conversations about wearing braids and how that was somehow tied to unprofessionalism, disgusting behavior. Hell, dreads, I think, are still attached to the connotation that it's messy, dirty, disgusting, etc., etc. But there's a common theme in all of this, and I'm going to touch on it a little bit later in the video, is that it only seems that when one community wears or does these certain things that it's attributed with these words. It's not like a universal truth, right? But nevertheless, the 2025 version of why unifying some sort of article of clothing is the Nike Tech to quarter zip conversation. I'm going to be a little bit of a hater right here. Quarter zips is like bare minimum business casual activity.
You saw what?
What's the podcast
The podcast? Yeah. This ain't a podcast. It's the, you know how the young niggas is doing quarter zips? Yeah.
That's what you're talking about?
I'm just reacting to it, yeah.
Oh, you have like a video?
I'm reacting to it, yeah.
Oh shit, my bad, bro.
No, you good, bro.
It's tough, bro. What's your shit? Let me support.
You said let me support?
Yeah, what's your plan?
I just started. Yeah. Hold on, let me go and finish this video though. I ain't gonna hold you, this shit playing. Yeah.
activities, to be quite honest with you. But I digress. I think that this quarter zip movement opens up the conversation of like, why is it that when black people do a certain thing, it's always labeled as unprofessional, ghetto, etc., etc.? And why is it that moving off that certain thing always makes you professional or better or whatever the case may be?
So I get the question a lot about dreads or just like having hair in general being professional. It seems like a lot of parents in the black community, especially Africans, believe that having hair is not professional and it makes you look ghetto, raggedy, whatever the terms are, man. Obviously, I'm a young man and I have hair. I'm growing dreads right now. And personally, I see no problem with this. If you still have the belief that black men can grow out their hair, man, like it's 2024. I thought we were past that. Especially from our parents watching this video, you gotta think about it like this. By telling your kids that they can't grow out their hair because oh, you might be viewed differently. Oh, having dreads make you look unprofessional. I can't blame you, but you're the problem. You're the one that's feeding into this narrative that hair makes us look ghetto or it's unprofessional, it looks unkept. So you are...
It's true. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, bruh, I don't like when parents be saying that shit. When if you get dreads, you can't go into this job and this job. But it's not like I haven't seen it, though. It's crazy, though. Nigga wear dreads, it's over with, bro. I've seen it, bro. But I don't mean that nigga shouldn't wear dreads and shit, have dreads and shit like that. I don't know how to explain it.
Part of the problem.
I'm not too old to remember when a lot of content creators on this platform cut their dreads off. It was even a big deal in the commentary space. People made videos about it. Content creators like Blackboy Max or Young Don were people who cut their dreads off. And while they did it for their own reasons, I remember the reception around it where people were saying, oh my God, thank God he did that. He looks better. He looks more professional. And a lot of that was tied.
Blackboy Max, Young Don, DDG, I think Kai Cenat just recently.
To just the most anti-black sentiments that I've ever heard in my life. And it's a shame because a lot of people, even though there is evidence that kind of disproves that or it should be called out, believe that, yo, if you have a certain type of look or a certain type of aesthetic, then hey, you won't be hired or you won't be able to move up in your day-to-day life.
As a black man, you have to cut your hair to move up in this world, brother.
I don't even know. That's so nasty to say in the big 2-5, bro. So nasty to say. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Omar is the too woke friend. And trust me, I don't actually have a problem with people wearing the quarter zip. It's just a conversation surrounding it. And every time that we talk about these things, people love to sprinkle in their anti-black sentiment. I want young black men and young black people in general just to know, like, you can be yourself. You can be the individual and you can still stick to the trend. Because the reality of it is that it's only ghetto and unprofessional because you're doing it. Nobody cares when the white kids do it. Nobody cares when the Asian kids do it. Nobody cares when the Hispanic kids, I can't necessarily say. But I remember when they forced black youth to really look hard about baggy pants and bigger t-shirts, etc., etc. And now, all of a sudden, in the big 2-5, that is the go-to standard for clothing and outfits. And nobody's saying that these kids look ghetto or unkept or whatever the case may be. They're calling them stylish and fashion icons. But what people are missing out on is that all of this conversation is tied to respectability politics. And respectability politics overwhelmingly affect one group of people, and it shouldn't.
Quarter zip or Nike Tech, you deserve to be respected regardless. You can be a terrible person in a quarter zip and a great person in Nike Tech, and vice versa. Y'all be letting respectability politics play in your ass, genuinely. You don't have to conform to white versions of professionalism to be seen as a respectable person. Oh, I used to be a YN that drank Hennessy and wore Nike Techs, but now I'm a professional black person with a quarter zip on and drinking matcha. And I know you guys are gonna hit my comments and say it's just a joke and it's not that deep. However, you can demonize a lot of stuff by just making something a joke. When you guys say, oh, that's gay as hell, you're being homophobic, but it's just a joke. When a white person says, oh, that's ghetto, he's being racist, but that's just a joke. When y'all say, oh, your back is big as hell, you're being fat-phobic, but it's just a joke. You see the point that I'm making here? You don't need white man paperwork to be respected. You don't.
I think all of this ties back into the professionalism conversation.
But gang, anyone could wear a quarter zip though. It's not like it's some just white people shit, bro. That's like, I don't know how to explain it, bro. Like these are just clothes, bro. It's not that deep. That's why niggas is saying it's not that deep, bro. It's not you're painting into the white person and all that shit, bro. Anyone could wear a quarter zip, gang. I ain't gonna hold you.
That we've been having over the course of the past year. You know, we've been criticizing the teachers, we've been criticizing the doctors, we've been criticizing the pilots, etc., etc. But every time that I hear these conversations about professionalism, it is overwhelmingly only impacting one group of people specifically, and really no other group gets called out about their anti-professional ways.
I think professionalism is inherently anti-black.
I love this take because people are so vehemently opposed to it when they first hear it, but after they give it some time, they're usually much more receptive. My favorite part about this take is that it immediately forces you to recognize the fact that professionalism is almost intrinsically like non-existent, and the whole concept of professionalism is just tone policing on a larger scale. I can't speak for professional cultures globally, but professional cultures in America exist almost exclusively to squelch black concepts and black identity.
Well,
the idea that everyone in the workplace has to look the same, has to have the same general attire. I mean, knowing what time of American history that came from kind of already clues you in on the fact that that was so that people who were poorer were not allowed to work somewhere. But even brought into today, if you wear clothes that are affiliated with blackness, people can be like, oh, that's unprofessional, with really no basis on what that means, no basis on how that impacts your job, how that impacts your ability to work. They can just say you're unprofessional. This is not a professional attire for our professional environment.
In my experience in working in corporate America, I've seen things, specifically clothing items, be attributed to a certain group of people and also be attributed to unprofessionalism. And one example I know of my coworkers to be wearing Jordans while at work, a sneaker for what it's worth. And we're not talking about some crazy colorway, which shouldn't necessarily matter. But we're talking about a simple black and red colorway to go with his black pants and his red shirt. Dressing like a damn Target employee, if you ask me. But said coworker was called out by management simply due to the fact that he was wearing Jordans. This is a sneakers environment, but because Jordans had this connotation towards him, he got called out for it. Now, this is not me telling people to ditch the idea of getting any sorts of sweaters, button-ups, quarter zips, trousers, suits, or whatever the case may be, because statistically speaking, at the end of the day, that stuff does matter in an interview, and hey, call it performative if you want. Omar's not gonna pay your bills. I do want you to get a job. But I think what has to be put in the forefront of people's minds is that the goalpost is forever moving. When I was growing up, the stuff that they wear in Silicon Valley, the t-shirts and the jeans and stuff like that, would have never been acceptable in a workplace. And now that is damn near the standard in a lot of industries.
Having to dress business casual or business professional is super dumb. Like, if that's how you like to dress, go ahead, wear what you like wearing. But that being required for some things is kind of weird. Because if you really think about it, there was probably some rich dude one day who wore suits all the time, and then that became the standard. But who's to say suits are really professional? If people started wearing suits for streetwear, then they wouldn't be professional anymore. So really, it's all arbitrary. Who's to say that a hoodie and shorts isn't professional? Adam Sandler's rich and conducts business, and that's what he wears. And suits be mad expensive. I feel like the concept was kind of created to price certain people out of a certain job.
But gang, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. Like, bro, these niggas are trying to put it into like some race shit, bro. It's not that deep, bro. Shit, anyone could wear these quarter zips, bro. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. It's not that deep. Bro, if I see a nigga in a ski mask right now, bro, you need to tell me you see a nigga in a ski mask right now, you're not gonna be like, alright, bro, let me. I don't care if you're on the defense or the offense, bro. Versus a nigga in a court, bro. It's not some cool shit, bro. It's not that deep, bro.
That's what he wears. And suits be mad expensive. I feel like the concept was kind of created to price certain people out of a certain job. But maybe I'm tripping.
Bro, this is just a joke, bro.
So now the quarter zip has become some sort of...
I don't think this shit would, like, niggas is all gonna just be wearing that shit, bro. No, bro.
Trend, and people are talking down on the way that black people have dressed over the past couple of years. The stuff that these trends and little jokes give power to is honestly insane. I'm now seeing these
But if niggas is doing crazy shit in quarter zips though, that'd be crazy.
creators who have been
niggas doing drive-bys and quarter zip
labeled as white their whole lives, you know, got picked on or bullied for the way that they speak and talk, come from the pits of I don't know where, their corporate job, and are getting off think pieces about how black people are now trying to replicate them because they're more successful.
The quarter zip trend doesn't make sense to me, albeit because I am what they are trying to replicate. But then I realized that is the commentary. I've talked about before how there is a group of black people who genuinely does not know that black people like me exist. And previously the idea was, okay, sure, they exist, but it's one of them in a group of 99 white people. And so this one black person is trying to be white by doing these things, dressing this way, carrying themselves in this way, etc., etc. However, because of social media, now they're suddenly being exposed to this. So it's not, oh, this one black person is trying to fit in with all of these white people. It's like, oh, there are actually several black men who look like this and act like this. So now it's okay because I can dress like this and be copying a black man rather than copying a white man and trying to be white. I do think it's signaling a shift. Because the pendulum is always going to swing. So you went to this very super casual, look a mess part of the spectrum, and now you're going to swing back to people looking like they care about themselves. And especially when you're seeing hip hop starting to fade out of the zeitgeist, people
just give it all up. Get the anti-blackness out there.
Things, I do think that it is a small indicator of the pendulum starting to swing the other way.
Oh, you got these people, man. Just say you hate black culture and just be on with your life, I swear. Now, I do believe that there is an indicator that isn't being talked about in this whole quarter zip movement, and that is the indication of a recession indicator. You see, in the past, people used to wear business casual clothes just out and about. If you go through the different movements that Jay-Z has put on, that Kanye West has put on, Pharrell, Snoop Dogg, hip-hop, athletes, whatever the case may be, people wore polos, people wore sweaters, people wore blazers, people wore all these things. And a large portion of the reason why it was co-opted by regular people in the mainstream media is because there was no money around. But you had to have some sort of professional clothing. Hell, that's what your ancestors taught you. And you still wanted to get fly and impress. So people started to wear different business casual clothing to malls, to clubs, to gatherings, to outings and stuff like that.
If we look back at the '08 recession, it's crazy how much of the signs of it coming are reflected in what we are seeing now almost 20 years later. We can start with the quarter zips, which is not a bad trend by any means, but it reminds me of when everybody was going to parties and clubs wearing business casual in the early 2000s. A lot of people argue that that trend started based on the club discrimination that we often still see today. Like if a club doesn't want black people, they usually can't just say that. But they can ban what they think black people like to wear. Thus the business casual in the club. And that marked the time period of the Great Recession, like what a lot of people like to call recession pop did. Recession pop was the music that was coming out around that time. Think LMFAO, Flo Rida, early Kesha, early Lady Gaga, Nicki Minaj's whole first album, and even early Soulja Boy. But the idea that the demand for escapist, high-energy party songs with a fun or outright positive vibe would go up at a time when your average American would value an escape from a day-to-day life being heavily influenced by the economic downturn that caused the foreclosure, divorce, and unemployment rates to spike at that time.
All in all, this is just the same story, new day for what's going on in the cultural movement and the zeitgeist of culture, fashion, politics, everything. And it all started with a damn quarter zip. There are some dog whistles laced into the conversation. A lot of the videos that I consumed when this movement first came out was a ton of light-skinned dudes telling their dark-skinned friends that they're ghetto and unprofessional, which I had a problem with being a dark-skinned brother, but I laughed it off ultimately. I do think it's cool to see that there are young people that can, you know, put some sort of professional attire on. I was scared for a little while, especially after seeing all those videos of young people going to interviews wearing God knows what. Because even though seeing all those videos of young people going to interviews wearing God knows what, because even though it is discriminatory, hey, do what you gotta do to get a job. But ultimately, things like this and Subway bringing back the $5 footlong lets me know that there is a recession coming around the corner. And hell, it is already here. I just don't want young black men to ever lose themselves in the music, the moment. You want it. You won't never let it go. You only got one shot to be young, and then after that, you're not gonna be putting...
Nigga, this wasn't a bad video, bro. I don't think it's that deep, bro. Y'all niggas keep wearing y'all quarter zips, bro. Alright, I'm gonna see y'all, bro.